All right, we'll begin. So we'll connect to our deep Ujjayi breath, aligning skull bones, over sit bones. And we'll begin with some rounds of Uddiyana. So when you're ready to exhale, we'll bring the hands in front of the shins. Exhale everything out. And starting the move in the perineum, the low belly. Drawing in, drawing back. And releasing when needed. So we'll move upright and just resume Ujjayi breath. Or non-Ujjayi, just a patient, fluent breath. Okay, so here's another round. So you'll notice there's no hold between the inhale and the exhale. So when you're ready to exhale, we'll move the hands forward. Swift, thorough exhalation. Remain empty. Drawing in, perineum, low belly. Release when needed, and we'll move upright and just resume fluent or Ujjayi breath. So we can do our side bend today through lounge lizard. Took me a second. So I'm going to fix the right palm to the ground and then line up the hip and the heel there through. And I'm just using my left hand for a little bit of balance, flexing the feet and growing the legs rearward, footward. Letting these Ujjayi breaths just moving through the waist area around the hip bone, the sacrum, the low ribs. And as we may have been doing recently together, staying with that slow, patient, full breath. So that breath gradually works its way into these muscles and ribs, way up by the armpit and the collarbone, upper lobe of the lung. And we'll release, we'll trade sides. Fixing the left palm on the ground. And then lining up the hip and the heel. We're just starting off, getting all the structure around the lungs, just starting to move more expansively or dynamically. And this might be a gradual move. If it's sore, if it feels kind of splintery or achy, just breathe very slowly. Just kind of gently clearing the pathway for deeper breaths and fuller communication through the spinal cord. So these initial steps need not be rushed. It's kind of the idea of, sharpening the blade before working with the blade. So this is a little preparation time, but then the work can be done with much more precision and clarity and discernment. All right. And we'll release from there. So we'll lie on back. And since we're doing elbow to knee, you'll decide if you want the feet on the ground, the feet off the ground, or even the feet on a wall. All right, with the hands supporting the back of the head and the brain, inhale into the low belly. The head lifts, the shoulder blades lift. That's just a little bit, just engaging that entire front, that deep, deep front line of the body. And now exhale, stretch the left leg out. The pelvis remains steady on ground. So moving the leg distinct from the pelvis. And we'll draw the belly down. Inhaling, bend the left knee, keep the head up, shoulder blades up. And exhale the right leg out. Just splaying and spreading those last rays of the foot. So those are the foot bones that go to the littlest toes. Last 3 littlest toes. All right, inhale, bend knees. And exhaling, straighten out through the left leg. Splay those last 2, 3 rays of the foot. Just trying to feel into the outer space of the foot. Draw the low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. And exhaling, back stays still, the pelvis stays still. Right leg reaches out. Splaying the foot bones and drawing the belly down. All right, let's continue. Inhale, bend that. We'll do 3 more aside, and we can take those at our own pace. All right, thereafter we'll set up for bridge. I've got a block. If you have a block, grab it near. So once we come into bridge, we'll be setting up half Forrest. So we've got the heels, fingertip distance away from the shoulders. And moving on exhale, the tailbone starts, the buttock lifts, the spine lifts, and we enter bridge. Feel the breath remain fluent as you apply the block under your sacrum. Just so we're not holding our breath and grunting as we get the prop into place. Yeah, left hand reach for left foot. We'll draw it back. And then feeling the top of that left foot as it makes contact with the ground. Can you feel the two halves of the foot, the inner half, the outer half? Lightly squeeze knees toward knee. So engaging the inner leg in this half Virasana. And release, we'll switch sides. Right hand grab right ankle, drawing it back. And squeezing or engaging the inner leg somewhat. Not to necessarily move the knees closer to each other, but to engage the inner leg. The thighs will be more in parallel than splaying out to the sides. And release. We'll set right foot back to ground. And we'll lift away from block. Lowering, exiting bridge. Take your time. Take several exhales. So remain lying. And I'll describe this as best as I can. I'm separating just the left leg to the left in half frog. Okay? And I'm supporting that left thigh with my left hand. So I'm, in a sense, I'm holding my left leg out with my hand, half frog. My right leg, I'm straightening away from my head. And the reason I'm holding it with my hand is so my pelvis can remain entirely on the ground. Because if I were to just let my left leg go left, my pelvis would roll to the left, likely. Okay. So now it's a judicious amount of holding, because I'm also letting this thigh bone kind of drift, soften away from the pelvis. So instead of doing the abdominals, to feel opening and movement through the hip socket, I'm just letting my hand hold it, just taking fluent breaths in and through the pelvis. If you need your right hand to hold the right hip down, you can just plant it there. We'll help that leg back and we'll switch sides. So my right leg bent, taking the weight, my right leg to the right, and I'm supporting it in my right hand. My left hand holds the left hip down. And I'll move that back centrally. There you go. We'll turn to a side, we'll press up for dolphin. If there's a little rotation in the pelvis, that will tend to show it up for me much more than frog is done as a set of abdominals. So you can actually feel how each half of your pelvis is resting on the ground or being breath stabilized to the ground. So it just offers another view into our sacrum and our low back. All right, setting up dolphin. When we're ready, keeping the shoulders drawn away from the ears, exhale the knees off the ground. All right, take the right foot toes, wrap them around the left heel. We'll start by sinking some weight down into the left heel. Inhaling, smoothly raise the right foot off the ground, off the heel. we'll set that right down. Left foot anchor down the right heel. And as you feel these various tensions changing in the body, just connect to Ujjayi breath. Tensions can be something like pressures or stretch. Right? Any of these sensations, to me, they're both fluid and structure. They're just various. Right? All right, we'll take the left foot, raise it back skyward. And if I'm using my entire right foot, I can lift out of that left shoulder. So work for feeling the space through the bones of that right foot, the contact, the space. We'll set the left foot down. We'll set the knees down. And inhale the hands under the shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. I'm just giving plenty of times. Sometimes when we have these really sudden weather changes, it's almost like things are a little bit, they're in different positions. They just need a little extra breathe time, opening time, finding each other time. Could just be me. Inhale the right foot forward, warrior one. Opening up the hands, exhaling, the tailbone shifts down. So the way I'm using the buttock muscles is to free the spine. Breath can still access the pelvis. So if you feel that doing something with your glutes kind of shuts down the ability to feel breath in the pelvis, just kind of relax the glute. Try again, finding out how can I move some of these bones, yet keep the sense of breath intact in that area of body. Arms in eagle. Exhale the left elbow over the right. And exhaling again, gliding the shoulders away from the ears. Actively stretch that back leg backward as we send the elbows forward. Okay, keeping the arms like so, emu, or hinging the torso inside the thigh. And release. Inhale, place hands down, exhaling, chaturanga. And we'll lower all the way to ground. At least with these initial few passes, so starting by feeling the breath in the abdomen, and then the ascent into cobra, using the hands, using the back muscles. And then exhaling, lower down, reset the hands under the chest, downward dog. Warrior one. Inhale, left foot forward. So as I engage my muscles, I won't say maximally, but as I'm engaging them vibrantly, heat's created. So working that right leg back toward the earth, engaging these triceps, these arms, stretching them up, opening up the hands. And taking the arms into eagle, right over left. Right elbow over left elbow. And the fold. Exhaling, bringing the arms and the torso inside the left thigh. And when we release the hands, inhale, set them under the shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. Or pardon me, chaturanga. My mistake. We'll step the left foot back. And when we lower, just a little bit of a timing thing. Inhale into the abdomen just prior to lifting the chest up, supporting the chest up, pulling the chest up. And then exhaling, lower, reset the hands, downward dog. Okay, extended warrior. Inhale the right foot forward. So I'm taking the right hand inside the right foot. And the extended part is drawing the left arm overhead. So my left hand is stretching away from my left foot stretching away from the left hand. Like the left half of my body is doing a handstand. And the right side of my body is doing a half frog. So I'm turning the navel and the chest to the left. So there's this spiraling of the torso to face left, even as that leg spears energetically into the ground. And that left arm reaches infinitely just over the horizon. Inhale, bring the left hand down to the ground. Heel toe the left foot toward the right. And we are standing. I just want you to make that move without any hopping or lurching or suddenness. Anytime we're starting to work deep in the hip or the sacrum, it's so nice to just move the feet, the legs, the weight shifts gradually. And so you might even just take a little weight shift. Make sure everything's in a good spot. And now, standing alternate twist, right hand grab right foot. I'm going to take a second pass at it. My left foot is turned or oriented forward. So I'm doing that. That gives me my direction toward which to reach my right leg. And then let that left. So if you're using a wall, which is totally fine, if you set the wall at your right hip, you'll be able to open the left arm back. And that way you'll get that twist. You'll get that inner leg work. There it is. And keep reaching, keep reaching. You got a lot of reach in there. Good. Inhale, we'll set that right foot down. And we'll step back for interlock. So stepping the left foot back. Now that right arm nudges the thigh. Left hand behind back. And release. Inhale. I'm going to set the hands down, the knee down for pigeon. Let's walk the right foot to the left side of the mat. And so I'm going to offer the option of doing a little heel to butt move here. So that requires just a little bit of setup in that. You want to be close to the ground or unable to tilt and fall to the right. Once that's assured, the other assurance is have the left knee, the left thigh bone pointed straight back from the pelvis. And then without moving that thigh bone position, bend the knee. And then we can move forward to the forearm, the right forearm. Bearing most of the way through the legs. And release. Inhale, left foot down, hands under shoulders, exhaling, downward dog. The engagement helps bring up noticing. The breathing helps digest the noticing. Extended warrior will play on the other side. Inhale, left foot forward. So we've got the left hand set inside the left leg. The right arm reaches just out over the horizon. So strongly straightening that right leg. And that may mean I need to put my left hand on a bit of surface. Sometimes I get that left hand up on surface and my chest and my pelvis, I can turn it, opening it to the right in a nice way. We want to make sure we have enough clearance or space in that left hip that we can move our trunk. So you can get that entire right side on stretch, if you will, right into that right hip bone. And then as you're reaching that right heel toward the earth, that'll further that stretch or that connection to the right hip. Seems fun. Seems like vibrating good time. And then breathing into that right side. Just kind of bathing that stretch in the breath, that changeover, that changeover, that changeover. All right. So we'll bring the right hand down, heel toe the right foot to the left. So we're making a move to standing. And once the right foot is next to the left, you may want to also take a couple weight shifts. Okay. If you're stretching and reaching those legs, sometimes things go crickle crackle. All right. So the ground foot, the right foot, pointed straight ahead. I'm making a point of that because often as soon as we grab the left foot, I see a lot of feet kind of duck out. So keep that right foot stationary, oriented one way, and we can raise the left foot without moving the right foot. And we grab. And keeping that right foot oriented straight ahead. Reach the right hand back. So that one leg, that right leg is kind of carrying the entire trunk's twist. Breathe well. And for a move like this, I actually like the big toe staying on the ground. It allows me to keep working with those deep intrinsic foot muscles, the arch. It has so much to do with our spiraling and our twisting and our gait. All that's just coming from the foot. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll set that left foot down. We have an interlock, so we step the right foot back. And the interlock is left arm near left thigh. Right hand behind back. And just like that twist a moment ago, I'm actively turning my own torso without pulling with my hands. And then my hands link. It's just a little icing. And when we release, we're doing that pigeon, and there's a potential option. So right knee down, left leg down. Okay, so option one is just pigeon, using it as a passive moment of breathing rest. Option two is ensure that you won't tip to the left. This is done just by putting a little wedge of blanket under your cheek. Ensure the right knee is directly behind the right half of the pelvis. Then keeping that thigh bone stationary on the ground, bend at the knee, grab the foot. And release. Inhale, hands under shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. Allowing that deep Ujjayi breath to circulate through all the ribs that we may have started to liberate, free up. I'd like to do one more item. We can set the knees down as our transition. I'd like to get into Malasana, or I guess we should call it half Pashasana. So this is the squat plus the twist. Heels. We want the heels to be on some surface, whether it's ground or elevation. And I'll just illustrate the move right quick. We'll be going arm encircling leg. And then we'll have some moments to adjust either feet more closely or heels down. So if that seems familiar, I'll do a light talk through. If you need a strap, have a strap nearby. Yeah. Okay. So the most challenging way to work this is with the feet as close together as possible and the heels lowest as possible. We'll start with the right side. I take that right arm right in between the legs. Inhale, reach that arm forward. And then exhaling, encircle right arm around right shin. That's usually right in here as I'm gathering up the hands. I can usually wiggle my feet together more if I want. It does tax the inner legs, which is wonderful. And when we release, inhale, unwind. If you need to stand up momentarily, sometimes it's helpful just with regard to circulation in the legs. Right. And as we get into the second side, we'll go left arm, turn a little bit, see a different view. Left arm encircles left shin. So one of the things I really love about this is the feet are active in a way that we don't usually get them just by raising the toes. So allowing the foot, it's like, to me it feels a little bit like drawing the foot bones toward the shin and sinking the heel into the earth. Getting a lot of that musculature, that structure around the ankle and around the shin bone to Really engage. It's wonderful for our ankles. Wonderful to hold ourselves up in these places. All right, we'll release. And we're so close to the earth. Have a seat. We'll lie back. And we'll take Shavasana. And in these final moments of rest in Shavasana, it's allowing your body quiescent moments, these kinetic, quiescent moments to recalibrate. Like the body knows itself through relationships. And how we issue and regulate and shift tension is one of those main ways that we alter these cellular relationships between organ and tissues, bone and blood. And every state, every emotion, every state that we'll experience in our human palate will need a body. These tensions and these relationships in a very particular way. So when those tensions and those relationships shift, our body needs that getting to know me process all over again. In a sense, we have to relearn how to be ourselves. When you're ready, bend knees. Turn to a side and press to seated. Namaste. Right. I'm thankful for the practice. Thanks for playing along.